Hello, thank you for joining me here at H Generation Forum. Your spokesperson, Africa Professor One, is speaking. Um, if this is your first time coming to this forum, I ask you to subscribe, share with friends and family, hit the notification bell so anytime I upload new video, you'll be among the first to get it. So one more time, this is H Generation Forum, Human Generation Forum. Subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, join the H Generation Forum. I have a lot to say. It's very, very informative, highly informative, educational, and fair, minded way of presenting issues. I talk about a lot of issues involving political, economic, geopolitical, economic, social, cultural. Sometimes I talk about romantic relationships. So the point is, if you come to this platform, you'll be disappointed. So join this movement and let's all move this conversation together. So today's conversation will be about United States of Africa. United States of Africa. So the topic is simply United States of Africa is unachievable. So let the leaders must focus on their respective countries, must help focus on their respective countries and lift their people out from abject poverty instead of wasting time and energy on a dream that is unachievable or a venture or a proposition that is unachievable. So today's topic one more time is United States of Africa is unachievable. Let our leaders or our leaders must focus, African leaders must rather focus on uplifting the continent, developing their individual countries, and elevate their people to the level that befits human dignity. So that is what I'm talking about today. So why did I choose this topic? See, I remember when we were growing up, when I was growing up in back in Africa, in Ghana, in secondary school and wherever, all that we hear most of the time is our leaders talking about the fact that they wish or they want Africa to unite, just like United States. So they feel like the only way or one of the most effective ways Africa can stand toe-to-toe with the other continent is when we present a united front. In other words, we get one government, one currency, one language, and it's just like United States, so that we can solidify our resolve and our strength, so we can be able to have a strong bargaining power when we negotiate with the other countries. That's how it been, because that is why even in the early days, in the early colonial days, when the liberation struggle, the leaders of the African liberation struggle, were talking all the time. They talk about African unity. And that was the purpose of forming, Organization of Africa, OAU, now it's AU, or Organization of African Unity. The purpose was trying to bring all these newly independent countries together so they can come out, come out with some strategy leading to the unification of all African, countries in the African continent. I said, and then we have one entity, one country. But the question is, how possible, how achievable this proposition or this dream is? And for me, from my perspective, from where I sit and looking at things critically, I can say that there's no way Africa can, can be united as one country, just like we have United States. Because you see, what a lot of these leaders or most of these African pundits or media people, policy makers fail to understand is the reason United States was able to become one country or to create one country out of the many, was because they didn't have language barriers like we have in Africa. Think about it. Even where I was born in Ghana, Ghana has over 80 languages, according to reliable, statistics or media report. And then, if you if you think about the whole continent of Africa, that's made up of 54 countries or 55 countries, you're talking about over 3,000 or so languages. And so the question becomes, if we decide Africa decide to become one country, which of the languages are they going to adapt? Are they going to adapt as an official lingua franca or official language of African continent? And the question is, how are other countries within the continent, how would they feel if their language is not chosen? Because now, let's say Africa become one country, and now they decide to choose, say, Swahili. Now, all those other parts of the African countries that have no idea what Swahili means, now they have to start all over again to learn Swahili. So those people in the eastern part of Africa who already, speak Swahili, they'll be, they will have advantage of those people who are just now learning. The same thing applies when, say, they decide to choose a language from the western part of Africa, say Yoruba or say Igbo or Akan, any of the Akan languages in Africa. Then the question, those people who speak Swahili, they have to give up their language and learn the official language, you see. But United States didn't have that. I think you follow where I'm coming. You understand what I mean? So that is what I'm talking about. If you look at all the details of what goes together to create a country, to create one country out of the many, you have to first, the most important thing is the communication, because communication separate human beings from animals. See, our ability to communicate with each other is what separates us from animals. Even animals communicate. So that's the most potent or important ingredient of every human civilization, which is communication. So the question is now, how are the leaders going to adapt or achieve, choose a language out of over 3,500 languages, but 3,500 or so languages spread across Africa? And then the politics. What kind of political system are they going to adapt? That's another question. Because we have some socialist country within Africa here. I can say that. We do. We have monarchy. Morocco, you go there, we have monarchy system of government over there, where a king rules. So now the king will be subservient to, will have a republic form of government, obviously. So if we have a republic form of government, that means about 3 monarchies. I think we have one in Swaziland, we have Morocco, and other. How are they going to blend into the new political system? This one country, will entail. You see, these are all the details, and it's not. Trust me, guys, it is not easy. It will be a daunting task. It's not going to be feasible. That's the point. So my thing is, that's my topic, instead of wasting time thinking about something, dreaming about something that is unachievable, why don't the African leaders, why don't they, channel their energies or their resources, everything they got, to develop their own individual countries, trying to uplift their people from abject poverty, disease, and squalor, instead of wasting time on unachievable proposition, which is United States of Africa. Like I said, in United States of America, we're lucky, not lucky, because there was a lot of things that support the creation of one country. Creating one country out of the many. Language, number one. And most of the time, even though they have a lot of religion or whatever, the dominant religion was Christianity. So if you look at United States, it was formed on Judeo-Christian, tradition. Unlike Africa, we have a whole bunch of regions, thousands and thousands of religions. And so how are we going to blend all these things together? You see, so Africa has a lot going on in terms of unity. Even within countries, let's say, let me even choose Ghana, where I was born. I know even within countries, there's a lot of jealousies among a lot of tribes, because one tribe thing, other tribe want to dominate the other. You see, one tribe, they are a majority, so they have their language is pretty much dominating the airwaves. So even within countries, a lot of people are not even united within their own country because of tribal differences, because of sectarian differences. You see, multi-ethnic differences and sectarian interests. And so, if you move beyond one country and then to the larger African, it become compounded. That sectarian interests and multi-ethnic differences become compounded. And so, how are we going to solve that problem? So, my thing is, they say never, but I can say for sure that United States of Africa can never be achieved in our lifetime. It's not something that can be achieved because Nkrumah tried it. That was the essence of forming African United Organization for African Unity. There were a lot of these leaders back then, such as Tafawa Balewa, the first Prime Minister of Nigeria. They looked at Nkrumah with suspicion because they think Nkrumah was overambitious. Nkrumah was trying to dominate other countries of Africa. You see, there was no trust among the African leaders. There was mutual mistrust, and it's been there since the post independence days to this day. So me, my thing is, it's a waste of time. It's an illusion for anybody to think that somehow, Africa, out of the 54, 55 countries, we can just melt all this country into one and adopt one currency and then one president, and then what form of government? Like I said, are we going to have, or president? Are we going to have what? Executive presidency, prime ministership? That because United States was confronted with the same question when they were creating their own country in 1787 when they were creating their constitution. One of the major issue that came about was what kind of leaders do they want? Are they want a monarchy, which it was dismissed because they have been through the monarchy, they have been under the monarchy system under the British, so they knew how it was. So they have a distaste for that kind of government. But and then do they want to have executive presidency, and how long? How long would the person be in presidency? 5 years? Are they going to rotate it each country? If former countries, colonies, like every 4 years, then they switch to say Equatorial Guinea person, they will choose. Then the next day, next 4 years, it will go to Ethiopia. Like the next 4 years, it will go to Egypt, Morocco, Ghana, Nigeria, Togo. How are they going to do the presidents? United States were confronted with that. And what form of legislature are they going to also create? Where would the power be centered? In the legislature, more on the legislative part of the government, or in the executive presidency like we have in Ghana? See, there's a lot of details there. It won't be easy to do. So my thing today's conversation is, let us all forget about the fact that Africa will one day become one, just like United States, like we will have United States of Africa. It's an illusion. It's not achievable. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of, things barriers that goes against the formation of Africa, one African government. It's not possible. It's not going to be possible. Because if you compare Ghana condition with United States condition when they created one country out of the many, it's totally different from what we have in Africa. So many languages, mutual mistrust, and all kind of differences, political differences. If you look at Burkina Faso today, it has been suspended because they carried out a coup. I think Sudan has also been suspended from AU. Morocco just came back, became the newest member of the United African Union, I think in 2017, having left, AU in 1984 because of the differences, between Morocco and AU, with regard to, Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. Is a territory Morocco claimed ownership, but somehow they gained independence and then AU recognized them. So there's a whole bunch of issues going on in Africa, differences, sectarian differences, and all kinds of stuff, political, economic differences that do not augur well or do not warrant the unification of Africa as one continent, as one country. It will never be possible. So let's disabuse our mind from this, unachievable dream, and rather focus on individual countries. That's what I have for you today. One more time, Africa. This is Africa Professor One talking, and uh, you have come to H Generation Forum. Subscribe and share with friends and family. And I'll talk to you another time. Have a great day. Bye.